Howdy, folks, and welcome to Moose Podcast 298. A number of you folks were so kind and just great to have in the audience this past week. The Kelby One Make Money with Your Photography Conference. You guys really lit up my emails with questions. I am really grateful. At this point, I think I've got them all answered, but I appreciate you taking time to listen to the conference and take notes and have questions and reach out to me. So thanks ever so much, folks. Also want to thank my good friends at Bedford Camera, bedfords.com. If you didn't notice, on Friday I put up a post from them, or I should say an advertisement banner. They got a great deal going on the Nikon Z7 II. Some free card and card readers, great stuff, low price. Just one of many things that Bedford's has for us, for photographers. So get a chance, give them a call. Head to the website, bedfords.com. Make sure you drop my name. Good time to be a name dropper. Save yourself some real money on those purchases, even those things on sale. So thank them also for sponsoring the Moose Podcast. I'm grateful, and I know they'd love to hear it from you. I'm going to get right into 198 here, number 298. We're going to talk about your summer questions. You guys have been piling in the questions. So I've got 5 questions here that I thought I would just do another podcast on. First one comes from Don. Moose, have you updated your workflow with the new releases that have been coming out in the software? Don, actually, no. My workflow hasn't changed since I did my last update 6 months ago. But I want to pass along one little thing with you, which might speed things up. So, me being me, I like, I don't know why, I don't know where it started, but I got a fetish for computer cables. There is the additive with HDMI. You always have an extra one because they break. Well, I like cables. It's weird. Anyway, so when all my stuff started going USB-C, I went and got some new USB-C cables. And that includes the cable that goes from my Delkin CF Express reader to the Mac, as well as from my external hard drives that I carry with me to the Mac. I was up there doing Grizzlies, and my dear friend Eric, who's a really smart guy and very generous with his knowledge, he saw that myself and another person were having really slow upload periods. He got this really cool program out, and it's called, hang with me now, I know I'll have it here in a minute. Oh, he's probably listening going, Moose, it's pss, 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 pss. And of course, Moose put it somewhere now where he can't find it. But anyway, it's Black Magic something. It's a you can test speeds. And what I had done to myself is I had got regular power cables instead of data transfer cables. So as soon as I bought the right cables, then all of a sudden my ingest was rocket fast again. Let me tell you, I was looking for all sorts of more complicated problems, but nope, shot myself in the foot. So the only thing I've updated there, Don, to my workflow is get the right cables back in place, and things are speedy right along. But appreciate the question. The next one, kind of the same idea, came from Deb, and I kind of think it's a kind of a cool question. She goes, have you ever thought, Moose, about the one tool in Photoshop you use every time? Actually, Deb, I have. It's not just one. There'd be 3. The first would be in Adobe Camera Raw, and I am hooked on masks. Masks work such a wonderful magic when it comes to finishing and light. So I loved to use masks in Adobe Camera Raw. And then, at the same time, I use the Magic Wand and my high pass. I do that to every photograph, especially if it's going to be printing. That's That's an old printer's term called sharpening for content. And then the last tool that I use, not really a tool, but it's a tool nonetheless, is Nik Pro Contrast. That probably kisses every photograph that goes out of this office. And if you hadn't seen it this past week, I think it was, it's been a busy 7 days. I did a whole post on the new Nik 5. Well, that's kind of misleading. It's not all new. They made some, the biggest set of changes were to Nik Color Effect 5, which is where Pro Contrast lives. And it's a very powerful tool. There's some really great math. I was involved with Nik way back in the beginning, way back before they've been bought. The Nik suite had been bought a couple times, and I just love it. So make sure you read that post. It's important. They have not only made some changes to the user interface, they've also made changes to what used to be called recipes. Now they're called presets. So your old recipes aren't going to be recognized or being able to be opened by Nik 5 if you made them in Nik 4 or earlier. And if you install Nik 5, it will wipe out your use of those old ones. So head to my website, check on the post this past week. You also will find the link, of course, in the podcast posting on my website. That's where I always put all my links and products I talk about in the podcast. But Deb, those are not one but 3 tools. So hopefully it helps. I've got a really great question from Steven. And he goes, "Hey Moose, I see all over the web pictures and some videos of the Z 400 f4.5 lens, which is on the roadmap. I see it in people's hands, but when I called my dealer, they knew nothing about it. What gives? And are you going to buy one?" Well, Steven, what can I tell you? Somebody jumped the gun and, let the cat out of the bag before the company officially did. So I don't know anything official. All I know is what you saw. I didn't watch any of the videos. I just saw the lens in some folks' hands. But if you ask any of my friends, they'll tell you that as soon as I got put on the Nikon roadmap, I had an order in at Bedford's Camera for that lens, even though they had no product number, no price, no nothing. Yeah. So the 400 4.5, when I started out, I used a 400 5.6. And if you've read any of my stuff, you know the first 6 years of my career, that lens was my longest. And that was my baby. It taught me so many lessons. So yeah, man, I want that lens something bad. It's small, it's light. I know it's going to be sharp. Oh, it's going to be sharp. At 4.5, you can put a 1.4 on there. You have a 560. It's going to focus, I have the feeling, really close. It's going to be a great over-the-shoulder lens. And it's not a zoom, so it's going to be straight 400 all the time. So it's that physical light. It's just going to be the lens. So how would I use it? You didn't ask that question, but it came to mind. The first thing is where I'm out photographing birds, and I have the 800 on the tripod. My second body will have that 400 4.5. So anything that's flying, I can instantly pull it up and photograph it. I'll use it a lot at the ranch for the birds I have here because it's small and light. Allows me to just grab it. But mostly when I'm out with my walks, on my walks with my beautiful bride and our dog, that'll be it'll just be so practical to have on my shoulder to go with me. Carrying the 800 on a tripod or 180, 400 handheld, they don't really just aren't knock around lenses just when you're, exploring someplace. And the 400 4.5 is going to be that lens. You can take it anywhere, do tons of stuff, get incredible results. I just know it. So, Stephen, I don't think official, haven't seen anything official other than the Z roadmap. But yeah, man, I've got to get one. Keeping on gear, Lori had a really seasonally appropriate question I really liked. Her question was point blank simple. Hey, Moose, do you do any different with cameras in the summer heat? Thanks, Lori. Well, that's a great question. Now, being partly very much old school, you used to be, at least I used to be radically concerned about camera gear in the heat. When I started out, that was a big deal because you had all those lubes inside the bodies and especially the lenses. They got too hot. They literally would run and you'd have oil stains and oil slick possibly in your lens or in the workings of your camera. Not a good thing. Now, that kind of lubrication is long gone, but that doesn't mean that the camera should be exposed to heat. In fact, I'm actually, if I were to have to think about it, and I'm really much more to this day more paranoid about my camera gear in heat than I am in extremely cold temperatures or wet. So when it comes to paranoia, it's going to be really hot. It'll be the top of my paranoia list, and at the bottom, really cold. So I don't. You didn't really ask. I can't find your email real quick, but you didn't seem to ask what I do about it. Just if I worry about it. So how do I deal with heat in my cameras? A number of pet stores, probably wondering where I'm going with this one. A number of pet stores this time of year, you can find it on the web as well. They have this little card. I know we have one in our car for Maggie, and it says if it's outside temperature is such and such, the inside temperature in 10 minutes will be such and such, in 30 minutes such and such. Well, you just have to look at one of those cards on your basic kind of 85-degree day. You can see how your gear in your car is going to get hot really quickly. So I keep that in mind. If the summertime, my camera gear is always going to be in one of my Think Tank roller cases or in one of my MP version 2 cases. And they in themselves have a little bit of insulation. So it's coming from a cool location, it's going on the vehicle. And then I'm always going to have a white towel over that case. Now, white towel reflects some heat. With that in mind, if it's more than 85 degrees out, it's more likely the gear won't sit in the car. It'll go where it's cooler. It's hard to do when you're photographing, for example, air shows. But in that case, I tend to take only the gear that I need when I know it's going to be that hot, and so I don't leave any in the car. 1, because of the heat. 2, because possible theft. When I'm out shooting, that's probably when I get, the most paranoid about the heat. I don't like to leave my camera sitting out in the sun for very long at all. And it not only is it uncomfortable to put up to your face and to hold it, but I just don't think it's good for it. And in fact, our instruction books, they do have a maximum heat range that they tell you to let the camera go, and it's not really that hot. Now, one of the simplest ways of dealing with outside shooting is simply put a white towel over your camera. That white towel allows air to circulate while reflects the sun off. There was for a while, and it's been probably a decade, these really cute but very cool umbrellas that would, there may be, I'm sitting here with my fingers trying to visualize the size. I'm going to say maybe 10 inches in diameter. These things are really cute. They actually slip into the hot shoe of your camera. And it was an umbrella to keep your camera in shade. I got one, and stupid me, I loaned it to somebody. I've never got it back. And as far as I know, they're long gone. But that was another really cool idea to keep them cool. So, Lori, yeah, you get the prize. One thing I do worry about is my camera getting overheated. Save my last question from Dave. Dave says, Moose, you've mentioned going to a few private fly-ins like the one recently. How does one get invited to a private fly-in? Thanks, Dave. Well, Dave, that's a great question. I have to be honest. Until you brought that up, I actually hadn't thought about How does one get invited to a private fly-in? I guess the first reason is that private fly-ins aren't advertised, right? So if you, that's my first quandary in answering a question. Like the one I was this last weekend, which wasn't technically private, but it was a club meeting, so got to be part of the club, I guess, to be there. And if the person in charge of that club, as well as the manager of the FBO and the airfield, if Tom hadn't invited Jake and I, even though I had heard of the roundup, I had no clue when or where or anything it was. To answer your questions, I'm sitting here trying to pose an answer. One, you have to know the fly-in is going to happen, and if you actually Google fly-ins, you'll see a boatload come up on your computer. I mean, a lot. The EAA has almost a weekly fly-in. Somewhere in the U.S., multiples this time of year. AOPA, then you have regional groups, and some of them, like the one that goes on at Blakesburg, you have to be a member in order to go to that particular fly-in. So if it was me, I'm just spitballing here, that Dave, you want to actually go and get involved in this. First, you need to go into your basic fly-ins. And then you're going to have to be a couple things. One, a professional. Two, sociable. Three, present people with prints. And in that process, of course, having the solid photographs, that's a given. In that process of getting to know these people and being sociable, I would assume at some point they're going to say, oh, you like these kind of planes and blah, blah, blah. You should come to this fly-in, and here's the information. It's private. Tell them I sent you, something like that. And that's how I think anybody can get into any fly-in. They're not like, you don't have secret handshakes and giving GPS coordinates, and a treasure hunt kind of thing. It's just they're just private, because it's like a private party that you just don't go to everybody's party. It's the same basic idea, except for these parties have planes. And the last one we went to was one of the best we've gone to. Wow. Made all sorts of new friends, had a great time. Definitely ate too much, which is not untypical. But, all you could eat homemade huckleberry ice cream. How can anybody say no to that, I mean, a guy can only take so much pressure. But I highly recommend those fly-ins. They're a ton of fun. Well, those are the questions I have for this particular podcast. Keep sending them in, folks. I'm really grateful. You got some great ideas. Get out there and shoot. Have a great time. And remember to make every click your story.